Good morning, everyone. In this week's Torah portion, after the Jewish people cross the sea and they sing the Song of the Sea, it then says that Miriam, the prophetess, the sister of Aaron, went out with her tambourine, and all the women followed her with dancing and singing with their tambourines as they sang their song of praise to God for the miraculous deliverance at the splitting of the sea. And the question the rabbis ask is, why does the verse say that Miriam, the sister of Aaron, went out and danced and sang? Wasn't she also the sister of Moses, of Moshe? And the rabbis give a fascinating answer, and they say that the Torah is talking about Miriam when she was only the sister of Aaron, before Moses' birth. Because there's a midrash that says that when Pharaoh decreed that all the babies will be thrown into the Nile, Miriam's parents, Amram and Yocheved, separated in order not to have an additional child, in the fear that if it's a boy it will be drowned in the Nile. And it was little Miriam, who was a little girl of 9 years old, who went to her father and said, "You are worse than Pharaoh, because Pharaoh only decreed death on the boys, but by not having any children, you are decreeing death not just on the boys, but on all future Jewish girls." And it was through her intervention that her parents reunited and gave birth to Moses. And she was the one who stood over the Nile to protect her baby brother at the Nile. And therefore it's saying Miriam gave praise and sang now because she saw how her prophecy that by her parents having another child, they will save the entire Jewish nation came to fruition. And therefore that gave extra exuberance and joy to her song and her dance. And the powerful lesson for Miriam is that Miriam was such a little girl, but she understood that if we lose our faith in God, if we give up in despair, like our own parents were ready to do, then there will be no future for the Jewish people. It's only by having courage, it's only by having trust in God, and watching over her baby brother at the Nile, that the redemption of the entire Jewish nation came to fruition. And you could ask yourself, what did Miriam, the little girl, think she was going to accomplish by watching over her brother in the Nile? If the Egyptian army would come and confiscate her baby brother, what could she, a little girl, do to save him? And their answer is she didn't have a calculation. She didn't have a strategy. She just knew that if my brother is in jeopardy, his life is in danger, in harm's way in the Nile, I must watch over my brother. And I'll keep an eye on him and pray for him and show him my love, even if I know that I can't physically help him. And this lesson is so relevant today. So many of us feel we are helpless, powerless. What can we do to return the 136 hostages? What can we do to ease the pain of all the families, the bereaved families in Israel whose sons and daughters have been killed in the war? But like Miriam, we have to have faith and we have to have trust and we have to stand guard and watch over our brothers and sisters. And even if we don't know how we can help physically, we could surely help spiritually by showing them our love and our concern and watching over them with care and concern. One of the mothers of the hostages, Rachel Goldberg, whose son Hirsch Goldberg, Poland, is in captivity now for 110 days, was abducted and taken hostage on October 7th. And she goes around the world pleading with others and powers in the world to intervene and save her son. And she's known because she puts a sticker, a piece of tape with the number of days in captivity on her dress every day so the world could remember her son and how many days he's been sitting in darkness. And she said the other day that she gets thousands of letters of strength, of encouragement, of love, of support from people all over the world who are telling her, we're with you, we're praying with you, we're thinking about you. And she says it's so moving and touching. And she shared 3 examples of beautiful letters she got. She said she received a letter from a woman who said, I was getting upset, I was about to yell at my children, and then I remembered the hostages, and I said to myself, I'm going to control my anger and my temper, and in the merit of my controlling my temper, may God send blessings and redemption to the captives. She then told a story about a doctor who said, every time I go in to see a patient to do a treatment, before I go and I say a prayer to God, I say, God, in the merit of any healing that I bring to this patient, may you bring redemption and healing to all of the hostages. And the most moving one of all, she said, someone who was donating their kidney to someone wrote her a letter and said, as they wheeled me into the operating room, before the anesthesia was put into me to go to sleep, I prayed to God and I said, God, any merit that I have from this mitzvah of giving my kidney to someone else to save their lives, may that merit go to be a protection, to be a redemption, to free the hostages immediately. She says these letters of love and concern from Jews all over the world is what's giving her strength. Like Miriam, we may feel, what can we do? How can we free these hostages? And physically, we may not have a way to do it. But spiritually, every one of us could add a mitzvah, could add a prayer, could add a good deed, and add it to the scale of goodness in the world that will ultimately tip the scale and bring goodness and freedom and redemption and peace to the Jewish people and to all of humanity. Have a wonderful day.